Iranian airspace, 10 miles from the Iran-Iraq border. Dr. Salister Hayden sat comfortably aboard one of the Foundation's private jets, his gaze fixed on the monitor embedded in the overhead compartment. The screens cycled through news channels from around the world. It wasn't the flu pandemic updates that held his attention, though those mattered, but the coverage of his organization's World Wellness Program. Its presence was spreading rapidly, making waves everywhere. 14 hours earlier, Hayden had left his home in Arlington, Virginia, bound for one of the Foundation's newest remote facilities, a site so secret that even he had not been told its precise location. His own orders had created this cloak of secrecy. At his direction, Derek Jensen, the Foundation's chief of security, had classified the location as extreme need-to-know only. Jensen took that order literally. The only way someone would ever know the site existed, Jensen had reasoned, was if they were physically brought there. Hayden had shrugged at the time, but when it came to planning travel for himself and Mia, he realized he had, in effect, shut himself out. Mia Safari, his secretary and head of the Foundation's legal department, sat across from him. She was breathtaking, with long black hair that cascaded to the small of her back, flawless almond-toned skin, and striking features, full lips painted in deep colors, wide, doe-like eyes, and a figure that demanded attention. But beauty alone was not her calling card. By the age of 25, she had graduated at the top of her class from Harvard Law. Leading firms courted her aggressively. Then Hayden and his wife Elizabeth had extended an irresistible offer, the position of legal chief at the Foundation, with a salary 4 times higher than any competitors. Mia accepted without hesitation and had quickly become indispensable. Hayden's thoughts drifted to the conversation he'd had with Jensen while arranging this very trip, a call that had left him uncharacteristically irritated. "Jensen here," the security chief had answered. "Yes, Derek. This is Dr. Hayden." "Yes, sir. What can I do for you?" "Well, nothing urgent. I simply need the address of the new facility so Mia and I can make our travel arrangements." There was a pause, then Jensen's tone sharpened into businesslike formality. "Yes, sir. Just let me know when you plan to depart, and I'll personally take care of your travel." "That's not what I asked, Derek," Hayden pressed. "Just give me the location. Mia will make the arrangements." "I see. Well then, once you've decided on timing, have her contact me and I'll see that everything is arranged." Hayden's irritation rose. No, you're not following me. I don't need you to book anything. All I want is the location. We'll handle the rest." His condescension was unintended, but the words carried an edge. Jensen's tone didn't waver. "Of course, sir, but I can't provide you that information." "Why not?" Hayden asked, half amused. "Don't you know where it is?" "Of course I do." "Then I would think you could share it with me, Mr. Jensen." "No, sir, I cannot." Hayden leaned back in disbelief. "And why exactly not?" "Because, sir, you ordered it so. The facility's location must remain an absolute secret." Hayden let out a dry laugh. "Yes, I remember what I asked of you. But as head of this organization, surely I am the one person you can trust." "Of course, sir," Jensen replied evenly. "But that changes nothing. When you made this request, it was to ensure the safety of our members and the integrity of the facility, was it not?" "Yes, naturally. But With respect, sir," Jensen interrupted firmly, "the fact that you are head of this organization makes you and anyone close to you our highest risk factors. That is the reality, and so, with all due respect, I ask that you let me do my job. Allow me to handle your travel." Hayden frowned, gripping the armrest of his leather seat. He didn't like being stonewalled, least of all by his own security chief. "Derek, I find it very hard to believe you expect me to board a plane without knowing the destination." "Sir," Jensen replied calmly, "that's exactly what I expect. For your safety, for Mia's safety, and for the safety of everyone waiting for you at that facility. You board, you fly, and you arrive. That is all you need to know." The line went silent. Hayden clenched his jaw. Jensen had a way of ending arguments without raising his voice, and though Hayden outranked him in every way, he couldn't help but respect the man's unflinching loyalty to his orders. Finally, Hayden exhaled, forcing a laugh. "You never were easy to bend, were you?" "No, sir. And you wouldn't want me to be." The call had ended there. Now, replaying it in his mind, Hayden's irritation lingered, but beneath it a reluctant admiration. Derek Jensen was doing exactly what he was paid to do, protecting the Foundation at any cost. Across the aisle, Mia shifted in her seat, adjusting the cuffs of her silk blouse. "You're brooding again," she said softly, her voice carrying just enough to pull him from his thoughts. "Am I?" Hayden asked, a half-smile tugging at his lips. "Yes," she said matter-of-factly. "Your eyes narrow when you think too hard. What's on your mind?" He glanced back to the muted television screen, where a scrolling headline ran across the bottom: "Pandemic death toll continues to rise." "Just Jensen," Hayden said finally. "He takes my orders a little too literally sometimes." Mia tilted her head, her dark hair slipping over one shoulder. "That's why you trust him. He's loyal." Hayden chuckled under his breath. Perhaps a little too loyal. The jet cut smoothly through the night air, engines humming as the world below them remained unseen. Their destination, unknown to Hayden himself, lay ahead, cloaked in secrecy. And as he leaned back, hands folded in his lap, Hayden couldn't help but wonder, had his own command for secrecy gone too far? Mia had spent most of the flight glued to her laptop, or else up out of her seat, chattering endlessly with the flight attendant. One might say the poor woman had been her captive audience, with no place to hide, nowhere to escape the stream of conversation. Bored out of her mind by the long hours in the air, Mia ran through an entire laundry list of topics: the attendant's husband, her children, her training, even the quirks of airline life. If anyone on board couldn't wait for the jet to land, it was probably that flight attendant. Still, Mia had carved out a little time for Dr. Hayden as well. She leaned across the aisle earlier to share an update that brought the faintest flicker of satisfaction to his face. The World Wellness Program had already gone viral. Hundreds, maybe thousands of testimonial videos were spreading across the net. People everywhere claimed they'd been cured of the Azrael virus, H9N2, and every one of them credited the vaccinations they'd received from the Foundation's free clinics. Hayden hadn't responded aloud. He knew better than to get caught in a long back and forth with her. Instead, he'd smiled faintly, nodded, and turned his eyes back to the news channel in front of him. Mia caught that smile. "Well, at least I got you to react," she teased. "So tell me, have you seen anything on the news I should be worried about?" Hayden didn't answer right away. He was listening to a broadcast from India through his earbuds. Finally, he removed them, coiling the cord loosely in his fingers. "Nothing major," he said with a shrug. "A few glitches here and there, but mostly what we expected. Well, except for India. That one we didn't see coming." Mia arched a brow. "Glitches, sir? Forgive me, but your little glitches tend to be pretty big ones. What exactly are we talking about?" He leaned back, shoulders rolling in another shrug. "Beijing was predictable. Any large public gathering there is bound to attract vigilante groups. Someone always turns up with a megaphone, shouting about corruption or injustice. The authorities stepped in, used tear gas and rubber bullets to break up the crowd. Most of the people were there for vaccinations, but these things happen." "And India?" Mia pressed. Hayden chuckled, shaking his head. "Apparently the waiting lines at the clinic blocked some of their sacred cattle walkways." Who knew? She tried to smother her laugh, though the corners of her mouth betrayed her. "Sir, you do realize that's not funny to them. They take their cattle very seriously." "Of course they do," Hayden replied evenly. "But Beijing, are we still all right there?" "As best as I can tell," he said, "yes. The anti-government crowd stirred things up, but it'll settle. It always does." Mia sighed. "That's ridiculous. I filed every form, secured every permit, and we paid for a full week of assembly rights. Those people had every legal right to be there." "And yet," Hayden said, tilting his head, "that's how it played out. Nothing we can do from here. It'll work itself out." Mia opened her mouth to continue, but stopped as a shadow passed over them. "Excuse me," the flight attendant interrupted, collecting their empty glasses with a polite smile. "We'll begin our descent in about 15 minutes. Is there anything else I can get for you?" "No, thank you," Hayden replied. "And for you, ma'am?" she asked Mia. "Oh, I'm fine. Thank you." The attendant nodded briskly. "Please remember to return your seats to their upright positions and secure your tables as well. If you need me, press the call button. I'll be preparing my station. And once we start descent, the captain will illuminate the fastened seatbelt light and make an announcement." She added a quick, almost conspiratorial smile. "I hope you've both enjoyed your flight." She turned and headed back up the aisle. "Thank you," Hayden called after her. belated, but enough to draw a backward smile from her as she walked away. Mia shifted in her seat, closing her laptop. As I was saying, that country really needs to. Hayden raised a hand, cutting her off gently. I know what you were going to say, but as I told you, nothing big. We'll follow up once we've landed. Mia let it drop with a nod. Fair enough. Still, I can't wait to see this place. Everyone's been telling me how incredible it is. Hayden's brow furrowed. Everyone? Well, not everyone, she admitted with a grin. But all the office girls are excited, and from what I've seen, it looks amazing. He turned off the monitor in front of him, giving her his full attention now. That's odd. Just a moment ago, you said you couldn't wait to see it. But, she interrupted, smiling slyly, while you were watching the news, I took the 3D virtual tour. The IT team posted it on our internal server. Didn't you read the memo, sir? Her grin made it clear she knew the answer. Hayden smirked, conceding. Well then, I'm sure we'll like it. And as if on cue, the soft chime sounded overhead. The seatbelt light blinked to life just as the captain's voice came through the speakers, announcing their descent. Hayden reached for his belt, buckling it with a firm click. Perfect timing, he murmured. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel for more in this series and many other stories we know you'll love. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss an update.